Hey, it's Brian Cook and Kindra Brown.
You almost screwed up.
Bates Real Estate Advisors in Woodward, Oklahoma. We're the Brian and Kindra Show.
That's awesome. All right, I'm Kindra
Hey.
Brown, Advanced Real Estate Advisors. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I'm really excited about today's show
Yes.
because we always talk about how we're small market real estate is what we
Yes.
are, and we are very we're really hyper local, right?
We're hyper a lot of the time, yes. And we are local because we don't get time to get out of town. So hyper and local, yes.
Yes. Okay. So we're hyper local real estate, and we're very relationship based.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a really great conversation with one of our sellers this morning, and she said that she'd been hearing or reading something. She goes, "My son always tells me not to look at. How did she say it? My son tells me not to listen to what I read on the internet, but I've been reading on the internet again." And I thought it was so priceless because she's absolutely right. Like, where else are we supposed to get our information? But sometimes you're like, is it true? Is it not true? I don't know. It's hard to fact check.
Yes.
Will you say that?
Fact check.
Good job. Okay, so she said that she was reading something about the a potential increase in the caps of the capital gain taxes. That instead of currently it's 250 single, 500 married, that they would increase to 500 and $1 million. Is that? Are you reading that too?
Yes, because of inflation, the values of houses have gone up, so they need to. You can't hardly buy a house for $250 anymore.
So she tells me that, and she goes, "Is this how come we don't have more inventory in Woodward?" And she said, "Is this why? Is that the problem, and why we don't have more houses?" And she was talking about upper end homes,
Yes,
for
500
sale
plus.
in our community. Yeah, 500 plus. Well, actually, I think even 400 plus
Yep.
for this particular instance.
So for that customer, I got on our Whoop-de-Doo website, not ours, but another one, and I searched every house in Woodward County that was built after 2000 that was over 2,500 square feet, and there's not as many as you would think. I think it's actually 3,500 square feet built after 2000. There was enough I could call them all in a day. Like,
It's insane.
yeah, and I did. I went through the list like, all right, well, are they going to sell? Are they going to sell? Are
Right.
they going to sell? And so,
But rewind back to the question.
yes,
Is that why we don't have
has nothing to
inventory?
do with it.
I agree. I think that's a national problem.
Yes.
Because we saw, I mean, after that whole crazy 2020, whatever in the heck happened, we saw major price increases everywhere else. We saw a lot of business, but we didn't particularly see a huge inflation. And we also haven't seen a huge decrease in prices. We're
Nope.
just stable, just like normal,
were.
right?
Yep.
But we do have a low inventory. So then my
Very.
next thing that I said to her, like, I went through that whole scenario of, you asked me a minute ago, was I selling real estate whenever Woodward had 17 houses on the market? And I remember, because I remember a customer particularly, two of them actually, and I'm not sure. I think we looked at every single house that was on the market, because at that point you have to look at, I don't want a fixer-upper, but I'll take a fixer-upper, to this is the best house on my, but all the houses were in the price range because there were no houses for
It
sale.
was so crazy.
It was insane.
I'd go home on my way home and I'd pick a street and be like, all right, I'm knocking every door on the street on my way home.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. So fast forward then to 2018 when I started working for you. Do you remember October of 18? You were walking past my office. I said, "Stop, I got to ask you a question." So there's 118 houses on the market today. I'm scared. And you said, "It's not typical. It makes me a little anxious too." And then nothing happened. Like, that seemed like an over influx of inventory for Woodward. And then
It was easy to sell houses because we
It
had like,
was.
hey,
It was
you want a house?
exciting.
Look, you got 14 to choose of. Buy the one you like instead of the one you hate the least.
Like, I could
With the
do a
most.
CMA without even thinking, because
Yeah.
there were so many things to choose from that I could compare easily whenever we were looking to
Yeah.
list a house. And then pretty quick, we started seeing, by the next July, I think we started seeing inventories back down in the 70s. It seems like 70.
2021 end of 2020, we broke 100. We went under 100, 2020.
Yes,
Yep.
right. I meant 2018. Oh, you're right. I get what you're saying. It was like 2 summers later.
Two
maybe.
summers later. Yep.
Okay, fair enough. Regardless, here you are correcting me again on the show. But it's fine.
Only on numbers.
Oh, no, I'm not good with numbers. That is true. Except for whenever I have to be. Whole point of that is now we are in like the mid 30s probably for inventory, and that'll fluctuate. And I get that. It's freaking insane.
It's getting very complicated.
Okay, so we have different ideas on this. I think our ideas are the same. I think it's because we didn't build. I think it's because Woodward just didn't have any new construction between like the early 80s when everything dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2012 is when we started building again.
And the only time we really built was, in the boom 80s.
Right.
And then after the tornado in 12.
Yes.
So during the tornado, really. So,
Yes.
so an agent here in town's like, hey, we need more houses. So he built an addition, hired some contractors out of the city to spec build a whole bunch of houses. It worked pretty good, except then we didn't keep up with the build.
Right.
Like we couldn't keep up. So Elk City is a similar sized town as Woodward on the interstate I-35.
Right.
They are still spec building houses, and they're going to outgrow Woodward very quickly. They're closer to 16, 17,000 people, and they're on the interstate. I think that's part of the big deal. But also the contractors are a lot easier to get there because they can just zip down. It's an hour and a half down the interstate versus 2 hours down this to get here. So I'm getting off topic, but it comes back to our location to hyper local. Why we are here is hard to get a spec building company to come to Woodward.
Right.
Shipping, time to get here, all of that. So that's why people haven't built. Why, which leads back to why are we short on houses again?
Exactly. So I want to just touch really fast. We do have our own specific challenges because of our location, but I think that our location is so unique and so spectacular. That's not a dig against our location.
No.
It's
Yeah, we have a lot of good contractors.
We have to overcome. We do. We have
all
great
our contractors are
contractors.
custom build contractors.
Right.
So so that means we have a lot of unique houses. We don't have additions, newer than 2012. I mean, the one 2012 at Shadow Creek, and beyond those, there's not any additions like South Fork and Wildwood, and they're all individual, lots of individuality. Yes.
Which is cool. And I love that. All right. So all of that, I think, is a really good lead into the topic that I wanted to discuss today, because her second question, or maybe third question, was is this because of mortgage rates? Are people not moving because of mortgage rates? And so, I'm the worst at keeping up with mortgage rates. I don't even know where we are right now. 7s?
6, almost. We're not quite 7 yet, but we will be. They will go up to 7.
I don't do that part. That's the part that you do. And so that's why I probably sound like an idiot. She don't even know what interest rates are. That's the part you do, and I let you do your job this time. So I don't think that mortgage rates are really our issue either. But I think that there's enough of a hot topic and enough of media that is frightening our buyers and sellers that I just want to talk about it.
Yep.
So here you go. This is the big fat statement. Your needs are more important than the mortgage rate. There you go. That's it, right?
So if you don't need to move, they're not moving. So back in 2020, when we had 120 houses, they're like, oh, I'm in at 4% interest and I buy at 4% interest and I love my $200,000 house, but I love that $200,000 house better. I think we'll just move. Awesome. Now I'm in a $200,000 house at 4% interest. This is great, but I love that $200,000 house. I want to move. Now my payment goes up $500 a month.
What?
So along with that, now your insurance is going up because of inflation, the cost of houses.
Right.
So now your insurance is going up 30%. So instead of $100 a month, it's $130 a month. So just to move from a 200 to a 200 is $550, $600 a month more. Right now.
So that hurts a buyer who's getting a loan.
Yes.
We're only talking about buyers getting loans.
Yes.
That hurts their buying power.
Correct.
Big time. So we recognize that. But here's the thing. If you're needing to move and you're thinking, I just don't want to because I'm afraid of the mortgage rate, yada, yada, yada. If you need to do it, you need to do it, right?
You might just have to sacrifice some of the amenities of the house. You may not get a 3-car garage.
Right.
You may only get 1,800 square foot instead of 2,200 square foot.
Sure.
So there's some amenity style stuff there that you may have to just downsize a little to get back into that payment, which is where we're going to come back in and do that. We're the hunters. So we will go hunt.
I think that this show probably is a lot for the first time home buyer, to just encourage first time home buyers. So you've been on the fence. Should I not? Should I not? And we can't predict. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Is it going to stay? What's going to happen? Let's just do it and see what happens. Say what you're going to say with rent.
I had a lady call me yesterday. She goes, my rent was $800 a month 2 years ago. It went to $950. Now they want $1,150. She goes, I can't afford this. How much house can I buy for $1,150?
I just want to know what that house looks like.
And so we sold it. So twice.
It's the 5 hours you spend in the kitchen mastering your famous recipe or spending quality time with your family. Other insurance companies may just see it as a house. It's not just a house, it's your home. Hi, I'm State Farm Agent Kevin Kanzler, and I see your home as the time and memories you put into them. I understand what your things really mean to you, and I'm here to help give them the protection they deserve. My office is located on the corner of 13th and Oklahoma and Woodward, to call me at 580-256-2216 for your home insurance today.
On Point Land Survey can take care of all your residential, commercial, and industrial survey needs. This family-owned and operated business proudly serves Northwest Oklahoma. These lifelong Northwest Oklahoma residents with over 22 years of experience are ready to serve you with the latest equipment and capable trucks to get your job done. Call On Point Land Survey today at 580-256-6757 or stop by 1918 Main Street in Woodward, Oklahoma, or visit their website at onpointlandsurveyok.com. Professional, trusted, local.
Found it once. And that's what I told her. So I think you can buy a house that you're living in similar, and your payment's going to be around $1,000 to $1,100 a month. And so I think there's going to be a lot of those type people that are going to be bouncing into houses, because even the individual I was with this morning, he said, I've got to go up on interest. I mean, I've got to go up on rent. I've got to, because my interest rate doubled. So my rent can't double, but if I can raise all of my rents 25%, it'll at least cover a majority of the hike in interest.
Sure.
Well, shoot, 25% on 800's another $200. So
wow,
800 to 2,000.
Man, it hurts.
Rent will have to adjust with inflation, and it will go up fast.
Right. So that takes us back to the phrase that we hear quite a bit that says that it's cheaper to buy than to rent. And for a minute in Woodward, it was not cheaper to buy than to rent. For just a minute, it was actually cheaper to rent.
Yes.
But we're getting quickly back into cheaper to buy than to rent.
Yep. And your house payment, if you buy, is a 30-year locked. This is not our topic, but you're locked 30 years most of the time.
Right.
And so if my payment's $1,100 a month now, it's going to be $1,100 for the next 30 years, plus your insurance and tax increases. But not the 20% increases or 10% increases you're going to have in your rent rates every couple of years.
Right. The interest rate is not going to change once you're locked in.
Yep.
Okay, so people who are moving, who do we see moving? People that are upgrading are actually still buying.
Yes, and a lot of that has to do with their cash. Some of these people are cash. So they have the flexibility to, like, who cares about the interest rate? I want that house. So as long as I can sell my house, I'm going to buy that house. Now the trick is the person buying their house borrowing money? So we get some of those trips and hangups. So yeah, the upgraders, there's still people, and then they have the life things. They get married, having babies.
So I think that's probably the biggest reason that people are moving right now, are because of situations like that, changing relationship status.
Yes.
If you don't need as much house, you move. If you need more house, then you move. Like, that's just the way that it is. I mean, that's the whole driver. Right.
So my daughter lives in Georgetown, Texas. She's renting a room from a lady. The lady's husband passed, and she was going to downsize. Mm-hmm. She said, so for me to downsize, my payment was actually going to go up.
Crazy.
So she said, I really can't. I can afford this house, but I don't want this big of a house. Her two kids graduated within 2 years of each other. Then her husband passed. So she went from full nest to 4 years to just her. And so that being said, it makes sense why some people are having a hard time downsizing, because they're stuck in this big house but can't move down because their payment is the same until she gets it paid down or paid off. But so you're going to see a lot of that stuff where they're just staying in these big old houses that they can't.
But I love her creativity and how she handled that. And it's different because there's such a certain, I realize that not every area would work like that.
Right.
I think you could almost do that in Woodward, though, especially right now with we have some different things going on in community. I think it would work.
You could work.
What a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and there's a college out here. So there's some of those kids that rent apartments and stuff.
Sure.
You could easily rent a room. Of course, she's got the best tenant, the daily hugs, and she doesn't pick up after herself well, but other than that.
You had a customer come in yesterday who's looking for something for a family member. They said, Kindra, what'd you do with your last house? Well, my son's living there. So you want a roommate? Yeah. I thought, man, inventory really is bad.
It's bad.
And so I think that was kind of the whole purpose of this show. Is I just wanted to talk about the idea that it's okay to move. Like, this is probably, I think a lot of people are just waiting for things to fall again so that they can afford. I think we just need to look at different different price ranges maybe. What do you, right?
Right. Yeah. And you just got to keep your options open right now. Whatever we're hunting for, you're going to have to look at all the options is the main thing.
So what are the options?
Oh, man. You come in and tell us your needs and wants, and we'll go get you some options.
Okay, so I want to tell the story real quick. Okay, so we have a customer, and we've been looking with them for quite some time. Really good friend of mine.
Okay.
And I mean, like I could see what they needed, and I knew what they wanted, and we couldn't find it. We looked and we looked. We looked at every house that there was available on the market, and then we started kind of knocking on doors. By we, I mean you. Actually, I've told you to knock on some more doors. I may have to check on your list,
Yes.
don't I?
Yeah.
And so we finally found the one, right?
Yes.
And here was his comment. He said, it's still not exactly what I want, but you're right. It absolutely fits everything that we need. It had the bedroom sizes, it had the space for some things that they'd never been able to keep inside, and they wanted like a gun cabinet or something. That's not the right term. What is it?
It's gun safe.
Yeah, gun safe. Thanks. I don't know why that was escaping the brain. Anyway, but he said again, it's not exactly what I had in mind. It's not exactly what I wanted, but it does work. But it came down to the relationship that we needed to have with them in order to know what they really, really needed. Mm-hmm. And so I think I'm kind of morphing this a little bit, and I don't mean to go off topic, but I think that this is super important. Showed another buyer last weekend, and they, when we looked at the second house, I realized this buyer that we've worked with for quite some time just didn't quite understand. You could actually choose one realtor. And I said realtor, but then I stumbled. I did not say realtor, just in case Richard is listening. It just stumbled. I said realtor. You can choose one agent. You can choose one realtor. And let us really get to know exactly what it is that you want so that we can start shopping on the backside for you. Mm-hmm. We want everyone to list. We want all the houses on the market so that we can easily call every other agent and say, hey, we want to show your house, or call our sellers and say, hey, we want to show your house. But that's not really how it is right now, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But we do know this person would sell. They're just not ready to put their house on the market, right?
Because they've called us. Hey, we're ready. If you can find us what we want, we will sell ours.
Right.
So we have this list of sell when we find. And then we have the list of we're going to buy as soon as we find.
Right.
So it's this huge fluid puzzle that we are.
I was going to say, you always talk about going hunting, but I think it's a puzzle. I literally see these little puzzle pieces in my head. And so if you'll allow us that option, if you'll allow us that chance to really work with you, we can be your one-stop shop. Mm-hmm. And then as we get to know you, as you get to know us, we start that communication, and it really helps us to find what you need. And that's exactly what it was with my friend. It took a minute for us to really nail down the need and the want so that we could find it.
Yep.
And we're halfway through.
Halfway.
Appraisal's done. What's next?
Closing.
Title work and closing. All right. What else have you got?
So, other reasons. So, health concerns is on here.
Of why you would move.
Why you would move. We have people, stairs, no stairs, flat yards, no yards. We had Brian Baker talking about landscaping a while back, make things easier. So This is one of those things man, I can't maintain this 7 acres anymore, or this 2 acres, or this massive flower bed, or like the people we closed that are moving, they had an amazing yard, and he's like, I'm ready to do something new. Amazing, but he wanted to go build us another one. He just wanted to go fix another one. And so then you have those people that are I wouldn't call it crazy.
They might feel it right now, though.
Yeah. So bottom line, we got to build these relationships. So we're hyper-local, relationship-driven business.
Yes.
Because just like the people you were talking about the other day, they fell in love with the house, but it wasn't the right house.
Right.
And we kept we tried to squeeze the square peg in the round hole. We kept hammering it in. We kept doing everything we could. We did some very creative negotiating. But
it just wasn't working.
And we hated it. It felt bad. And we just felt like we were losing. And then, bam, this one's so close.
Right.
So, and so sometimes we'll get there. That is the one thing. You don't want to get in the wrong one.
No, you don't.
So
let's touch on that really quick, because what you said, I don't know if everybody completely understood that. Financially, sometimes we can get you into the wrong one, and we don't want that. I don't think either one of us ever push the top end of the budget or want to go over the budget. I just want to make that very clear.
Right, no.
Like when somebody calls and they said, "Hey, I've been pre-approved for $250,000," and I'm like, "Okay, but what do you really want your payment to be?"
Right.
Because just because you're approved for that doesn't mean you should be at that.
Right.
Because we want you to not be house poor. That's the phrase, right?
The freedom. The freedom of being able to go when you want to go and to put new tires on your car when you need to, and
Seriously, buy groceries.
Buy
I mean,
groceries. I've seen a lot of people just get to the top of the top, and they just, well, I guess we're going to vacation with peanut butter sandwiches under the patio this week. I mean,
right.
I'm a big fan of budget, and let's get way inside your budget.
Yes.
Let's leave lots of room in your budget.
Right. For play.
Yeah, for play. Yes.
For fireworks.
Yeah, yeah. Because life is not about everything that happens. I mean, home is where you're, what is that? Live, laugh, love, whatever. You do all that. You do all that in your house.
I can tell you really feel it.
So yes, but I don't think the greatest memories ever made to me, all of my greatest memories are not made in my home. I know those are great memories, but man, being somewhere with friends, family, traveling, go to, whatever, golfing.
Because you're not a homebody. I wonder what your wife would say.
Oh, she's probably said, yeah, I read that book in this house in that spot, and I drank this coffee here in this spot. Yeah.
So we recognize
maybe opposites.
Maybe not for everyone, but home is, though, it's your safe haven.
Right.
And when your home becomes such a burden because we pushed you too far and helped you find the house that you didn't need, man, we don't want to be a part of that. We don't want that. We want for your home always to be your safe haven, your place to go home to, that you're comfortable and not the one that you're going, oh my gosh, how am I going to make next month's mortgage? Yep. We don't want that.
No.
We don't want that.
Nope.
So that's what we found with my friend. They had identified exactly what they wanted, and man, it was perfect and beautiful. But whenever we really sat down and compared, it was apples to oranges. It was not apples to apples. And we all knew that. And they said, you know what? We really hate to, but we're going to go with the orange. Because it works better and it's just a little bit more comfortable. And I'm super proud of that decision. I mean, it's one of those that you're like, oh, dang it, I hate that for you, but I'm so proud of you. Because, I mean, adulting is hard.
Yes. So this whole, we started on interest rates and what they cost us and why is our market slowing down. No, I wanted to roll back around and just emphasize that the interest rates, what I'm hearing by all the lenders I'm talking to and the advisors we're talking to, we don't ever anticipate them. We would never anticipate them getting to 2% ever, like ever. That didn't make any sense.
Right, that was so crazy and weird.
But they're like, to get to that point again would be nearly impossible. They're anticipating we could dip down in the 5s, but they're scared to because we're still in an inflationary position. There's still homes, multiple offers, and our asking price, and and so they're still trying to slow that down.
Gotcha.
And so interest, I think they'll give it time. All of the backlog of all the buyers that were trying to buy, I think they're just patient. If they'll just be patient,
sure.
They should listen to me. I know nothing.
You're all about patience.
And so, but if they'll wait, I think the backlog of buyers will catch up. They'll all get in their house,
sure,
and then that will all slow down. Instead of hitting a roadblock, we'll just hit a mud hole,
right,
and then slow us down, and then they can dip interest back down. But I think they're going to go ahead and raise interest to get it to stop quicker.
I'm going back to one more time. My first interest rate, 8s.
Yeah,
yours
11.
was 11. My favorite thing, though, is we had a group of realtors. You were sick that night. You didn't get to be here. We had a group of lenders, actually, that I was visiting with. And of those lenders, like their first time home buying experience with their first interest rate was 17%, 21%. Like, this is nothing. This is nothing. And
there's some very creative things. So as we go into this season, there's going to be, so I talked to a guy that owns a house. It's like $1 million house. He owes $500,000 on it. His interest rate is 2.875. So we've been talking. He's like, what do I need to do? Nobody can afford $1 million house. And I said, they can at 5%. They can at 7%. I said, can you sell your house at 5%? I said, I don't know. I said, can you carry the mortgage? Yes. So
exactly.
there are all kinds of, there's going to be a lot of creative selling going on in the next couple
Sure.
of years. It's going to be advantageous to the buyer because they're going to get a 5% interest
Right.
rate taking over the buyers. And I say it's taking over. It's called a subject to mortgage. So they'll make the other guy a payment and he makes the house payment. Be very careful on those. We need to make sure if you're going to do them, we want to make sure we have an attorney involved. We want to make sure that's done very well because
Yes,
it can get you
100%.
into trouble. But so you're going to start seeing those happen a lot more. Even I've got a sister-in-law that's like, she's got a $200,000 house. She was 125 or 150. Same thing. Her interest is 3%. So when I go to sell her house, I'm going to be like, hey, we need to we'll charge them 5%, get a bunch of money down, like go buy your other house. Now you're making money on the bank's money. So on that $1 million house, even if you charge 3%,
Sure.
5.5%, 3% of millions, $30,000 a year extra in profit. Holy smokes. What do we, So when I told him that, he's like, oh yeah, no big deal. We'll just sell it whenever I'm ready now. Because he was panicking. It was going to take him
Exactly.
years to sell. I said, not if you offer what you're going to offer, there's going to be people waiting to buy your house. So all that being said, there's going to be lots of options. There's going to be a lot more rent to own stuff happening. There's going to owner financing happening. This subject to mortgage is going to happening. So we'll do an episode on all of that soon. Just kind of go through all that. Kendra's so excited.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I love it. And so I'm an option guy. So we're going to be looking through that. So if you have a house to sell, because we're short on inventory, and you're thinking, I'm never going to sell my house because, nobody can afford my $300,000 house at 7%. Yes, we can do a subject to mortgage.
Or not, because that's
not.
the thing. That's the thing I really think is important and valuable. People are still buying and people are still selling.
Yes.
So if you've been holding back because you think nobody's doing that, get in here and let's talk.
Yes.
People are selling houses. People are buying houses. There are mortgages happening. Let's get you in a new home. Let's do what we want to find.
Yeah, Nathan, I just counted my buyer list. We have 61 people on my buyer list
Right.
that would buy if the right house hit today.
Right. So let's get some houses on the market.
61. That's twice the inventory. They're going to have to
our
shack up.
transaction workbok, where I keep all of our things that are under contract, our local organization called and said, you filled this out wrong again. I can't keep my brain straight right now. I can't.
Or
like,
sell.
it's happening. So let's go ahead and do it. Like, don't let the fear keep you from looking. Let's talk.
Let's do it. So we're hyper local.
Yeah.
We love real
absolutely.
estate. Love it.
Can I just say this really fast?
Yeah.
Okay, we put like these fun little Easter eggs all around behind us. Like,
Yes.
so if you find a local company hidden in our
Logo
little
brand. Yeah.
yes, you need to shout it out. Was there what like I don't even know what the point of this was. This